What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Pet Shop Boys, and we're going back to the 1987 album Actually, and we're up to the tune King's Cross. Now here's the thing, I got a trance record in the late 90s, I think it's 99. It's from the Netherlands actually, but there's a track on it, the best track on the record, called King's Cross. Now it's by an artist who for that release went by the name Caveman, and I think the release overall is called Perfect Pervert. And I'm forgetting the name. I think it's a Vincent D'Amour remix. But bottom line, King's Cross, an original tune for that record, is the best track. So at the time, I was curious about this, and it was a phrase that I had heard somewhere, probably because by then I had started to pay attention to British football, the Premier League in particular, but British and European football more generally. So I think at some point I'd heard the phrase. But after getting that record, I remember looking this up and discovering that it's a place, I think in North London, in London for sure, and again, I think North London. So the trance track, there's no lyrics to it, there's no, vocal samples, so it's more, I imagine, for the artist who produced it, just kind of the geographical starting place for some mood or atmosphere. Maybe there was a party that occurred in King's Cross, and that track was emblematic of the type of trance that was played. But either way, there's no direct connection, it's just the name. But I imagine here, this geographical place will likely play a role. I guess it could be some other usage of the phrase, but my inclination is to think that it will, in some sense, relate to that place, whether about an experience between a couple people that happened in that place, or maybe things that happened in that place in a certain time or a certain cultural movement. We've seen songs by them before where they speak to socio-cultural movements within a particular time and place, so it would not surprise me. But again, I imagine the geographical location of King's Cross will be relevant in some way. So let's find out. This is Pet Shop Boys' King's Cross from the 1987 album Actually. bored because I was just hearing them better than on some of the other tunes. I haven't had too much of a problem with Neil. There are obviously some other deep dives I'm doing where there are a lot of tracks where either the lyrics are sort of intended to be a bit opaque, or I just can't quite crack the dialect or the accent enough to really hear them clearly. It hasn't really been an issue with Neil, but there have been some songs where maybe I haven't heard some of the lines as well as others. This one I heard most of the lines, so I'm intrigued. Again, this is just in the moment, subjective and speculative, but it sounded like we're talking about the incompleteness of life, both like an intersection of the personal nature of that and also the broader and societal level, in the sense that looking around for the one that got away, trying to maybe find that, like take that personal incompleteness and maybe finally have that experience and put that to bed, or at least begin the germination of something special. But while going around looking for that person, whether literally or just kind of conceptually, getting off at King's Cross and then seeing people perhaps like of lower socioeconomic means, if not completely destitute, and maybe that being the idea that you're promised things in life. If you just go to school and you just work hard and you just do your job, you'll be taken care of, you'll get enough to get by, and so on. But for a lot of people that turns out not to be true, including people who do put into the system and give their effort and so on, and at the end they don't quite get what they're supposed to. It's not fair. But there's this larger incompleteness where not everyone gets what seems to be on offer or promised societally. So it felt like maybe there was an intersection of that sort of disparity between what you have been led to expect and what may have happened, and also between what you would like to be and what is actually the case, which again, like on a personal level, the idea of the one who got away. It seemed like it was a good match or whatever, but circumstances just weren't right, and then time moved on and they're not in your life anymore, and it's like it feels like there's an incompleteness there. So it felt like maybe a song that was about things not quite being fair, and that existing on every level, up from the very highest down to the very personal. But sonically just beautiful. Again, the synth bass, just the character of it, and also the regularity of it, the way that it's used. I love those little synth horn moments, the pads, especially at the end. There were those sort of angelic choral pads that seemed to be ascending. So yeah, just a really cool tune. If it seems melancholic thematically, and perhaps through that, or by extension a bit sonically, although I think you can hear the sonics as sublime and beautiful as well. But yeah, bottom line, a thought-provoking tune. Gotta listen to it some more. Obviously, I know people will comment and give me some insight. Big shout out to all the people, not just in the Pet Shop Boys deep dive, but all of the deep dive, sharing information, perspective, anecdotal experiences with particular songs or albums. Basically, I appreciate everyone who has made this channel what it's become, which, again, it seems like the more and more music that we talk, the more and more music there is to talk, and the more people who join the channel and begin commenting. So big ups to everyone. Do let me know what you think of this one. I will see you next time. Peace.